Happy Sunday, my soapy friends. Welcome. I'm Kendra, your soapy friend, and we are going to set up some oil infusions today, talk a little bit about oil infusions, and also make some henna paste for my hair. All right, so first thing we're going to do is I have some already set up to strain. So let's go ahead and get those straining. I know, that's kind of backwards, right? But a lot of people ask, how are you going to strain your oils? Now, in the Extracting Color from Nature Masterclass series, we talk about whether to go ahead and strain your macerations or just leave them as a maceration until you are going to use them. And I strain before use sometimes I strain at use. It just kind of depends. This is an infusion I set up for some shampoo I'm going to make. So I'm going to go ahead and strain this all out. I have about, I think it's a gallon of oil I need to strain out. This is the smallest one. And what I put on my mason jar lid here, this is pretty awesome. It's just one of those sprouting lids. It's a sprouting lid. It's awesome. And you can use it for making great sprouts. You can also use it to strain infusions. Now, the botanicals in this infusion, they're larger pieces. They're not ground powders like we're going to use with the alkanet and whatnot that we're going to get set up. So that's why this strainer can work for it. And I just have to, kind of tip and it'll strain and we'll just let that go. We're kind of looking at some cheesecloth alternatives here. And again, this is because I have larger pieces of botanicals. I just have a pitcher, right? It's a 1 gallon pitcher. I think that's a gallon. And I just put a colander right on top of it. Let's see if I can open this lid. Okay. And I'm just going to dump it on in. Now, I do have to be careful with this that I don't fill the colander up higher than the pitcher because there's holes all around it and it doesn't fit. It would be nice if it fit a little bit deeper into my pitcher, but it doesn't. So I just go nice and slow and there we go. That's all nice and strained out. I'll let that continue to strain because there's still some oil in here. So I'll just let that strain for, I don't know, a while until I kind of hear the drip stopping. Let me get this out of the way. Next up, I was going to infuse some rhubarb, but I'm not. You know why? Because I realized I already had 2 jars of it infusing. So we did these last month. I don't know. I think I did these in one of the Best Friends Club live streams over in the membership page at soapyfriends.com. But isn't that pretty? This is olive oil and it has some rhubarb in it. And we're also, isn't that fun? Rhubarb and coconut oil. So I already have these 2 and I'm not making any more. We're going to be using those, but those are made with the Himalayan rhubarb. And if you look, I put the link for the unboxing these, and I had some tips for each of these botanicals in that one. And there's also all the classes over on the site. The Blush and Roses goes really in depth with the rhubarb, so check that one out for more info on that. And now let's get our alkanet set up. And then we'll do the henna. All right, so what I've done here is I've got, these are just little, they're lanyard sleeves. I just got them on Amazon. And this is my oil infusion label. You can get these. These are free download on the website, and they're 4 up on a sheet. So what I've done here is I just write down what the heck I'm infusing. So we have olive oil and alkanet. Then, turn the scale on. Okay, I'm going to tear, you can't see the scale. There, I think you can there. All right, so it's 452.5. So I just did 453 grams is the tare weight of the jar. So I have a spot on here to write that down. It makes sense in a minute. I'm going to tear that out. And then, you know, I'm taking my gloves off because they have so much oil on them. And I'm done making a mess with straining the infusions. Straining it is always harder than messier than making it. Okay. There we go. Here is our lovely alkanet root powder already ground up. And I'm going to add 40 grams. Come on. Now, a lot of people ask me how much, and it's everyone's number one question, how much botanical and how much oil and all that. It's in the book. It's in the book. The Natural Soap Color Palette. And there is, like, see, here's instructions on how to use the label. And the page just before that has all the info you need on how much botanical to use. Now, that is just a generalization because all botanicals are different. I always say the biggest, craziest example is indigo. There's no way I put 40 grams of indigo in there, but I've got the ratio explained and you can adjust that based on testing. So I have my botanicals in there. I'm going to enter that on my sheet here. And the reason why I need that up here, I'll hold that up for you, right? So 453 grams of lid and jar plus 40 grams of botanical, okay? That, I'm going to add those together, 493 grams. I'll put the GR for you. All right, this is the tare weight of my maceration. The reason why I want to know that is because I can now, after I put the oil in here, I can just simply weigh this whole thing, subtract the 493 gram tare weight, and know how much oil I have left in the jar. Because I don't strain my botanical out of my macerations. I leave it as a maceration all through the life cycle. So doing it this way and using these little sheets, that lets you know forever and always exactly how much active oil you have in your jar. You're going to have to take into account that you're going to lose like maybe 5 to 10 grams maybe of oil kind of stuck in the botanical that you're never going to be able to recover. But, you know, that's okay. So we got 630 in there. The date. I think it's the 19th. And I added 600 grams. So that gives me a total oil weight of 600 grams. So what you do with your labels is every time you pull off your oil, you just write your date, whether or not you added or subtracted oils, and then what's your new oil weight in here. And if you ever forget, you can kind of check and, you know. But that's what I love these for. They are great. They really help me know how much of any infusion I have going on at any point in time, which is really handy for, as you know, I do a lot of those custom orders. So if I need to know how much of what I have at any point in time. Oh, there we go. Oh, I have a ring in there. Sorry, this is the stainless steel lid that I purchased on Amazon, and these are a silicone little insert that goes in there. I'm not touching the inside of it because I've already sterilized it. And I like that because, one, it's stainless steel, so the oils are not going to react with the aluminum and tin lids that mason jars come with. Do not use canning jar rings and lids for infusions. Get the stainless steel or the plastic ones. I like the stainless steel because you can write on it with a Sharpie and it washes off. But that silicone liner that I put in there, it made it leak proof. That way you can shake it and you won't have oil spilling all down the side of your jar. But I'm just going to give this a good shake. And I can see all the botanical mixed up. I mean, I know. I think you're having a hard time. It's so dark in here. in the jar. Look at that. I don't know if you can see, but all the botanical bins dispersed and saturated with oil. So now I need to leave this to sit. In the extracting color from nature class, I do have some helpful tips for accelerating your infusions. We talk about cold infusions and hot infusions, and what I call a hybrid infusion, when they work, what works best, what doesn't work so much. We do full comparisons of each so you don't have to second guess. These are just some cordings I had. I just tie these little suckers on my labels or on the jars. And now, see, I just have like a shelf of like this. So I can always see how much of everything I have. Love it. I'm so glad I did that. Henna. I put henna in my hair. And you can kind of tell where my roots are going. And the two different colors of the balled up hair and then the not hennaed hair. It's been a while since I put henna in my hair. I have been putting henna in my hair since I was in my teens. Like my mom started doing it 10, 11, 12, something. I don't know. I was a kid. I don't remember. But I've been doing it for this way for all those years. This is just how I do it. This plant has a natural dye in it. And this dye, which is the red that you associate with henna, it has this really awesome side effect of lowering your body temperature. So they would slather it on their palms, and it stained the palms. And that just kind of evolved to all the wonderful henna designs and mehndi designs that are now used in all sorts of traditional ceremonies. So I can tell you it does lower your body temperature, and which is awesome if you live somewhere that's really, really, really hot, like the desert. And it gives you, I don't know, it just really cools you down. Now, as far as how much I'm using for my hair, because this does dye your hair, it dyes the top layers of your skin. I don't have a measurement. I put a lot of henna in my big Pyrex bowl that I've had forever. You want to use glass, not plastic, not metal. You could probably use stainless steel. Metals, the henna will leach, so you just don't want to use like aluminums and other metals when you're working with botanicals aside from stainless steel. Plastic, you can use it, but it's going to stain everything plastic. So I use a Pyrex bowl and lid. Our water should be hot. Now, what the deal here is the water is going to extract the dye out of the botanical, and it's kind of like activating it. We're not really going to see that here today. You can see it kind of just forms this really awesome mud, but we're not going to see that actual extraction happening because it takes hours. So my process is to make up a bunch of this paste, and I just put a bunch in. This looks like a bit too much. I've recently cut off half of my hair. This looks like as much as I would use for when my hair was 4 feet. So I probably made twice as much as I needed. And it's looking like a mud. I go a little bit thinner than mud. So it got to mud. Now I added the rest of it. I'm going to stir for a minute here and see if it starts to thin out. If it stays nice and loose, kind of like loose pudding maybe, then I'll be okay and I'll leave it. So I'm just going to stir for a minute here. You can add essential oils, like maybe a drop of eucalyptus or rosemary if you want. I don't. I just make henna mud. This is staying really nice and loose, so this is absolutely perfect. What I will do with this now is I'm going to let this sit overnight, about 24 hours. So I'm going to actually apply this to my hair tomorrow afternoon. And what I'll see which you cannot see now, but you will I'll see that wonderful orange henna color kind of separate out and be floating on top of the water. That's how I know it's ready, that the colorant has been released from the botanical. I mix it all just right back in. I've got a squirt bottle with a wide open hole on it. In fact, I got a couple of the same ones. It's one of these, and I just cut it real low. And I just put this, and I just, you know, I just squirt it on in there and massage it in and run it through and leave it in for like 3 to 4 hours. So it's a little self-care spa day for me tomorrow. I'll probably watch a movie. I'll probably knit. I'll probably hang out on the back porch, enjoy the garden. I'll probably make myself a face mask with some of the Rainforest Chica clays and oils that I have. And just having a lovely, quiet afternoon. And then the hardest part of it all is washing it all out. Because you just put a bunch of ground up plants in your hair. I leave it in, like I said, for about 3 to 4 hours. And then I, upside down in the shower, I just kind of hose off my hair with the shower head as much as I can. And then I'll run some of my shampoo through it. Then I do use a conditioner. I make a conditioner bar. I kind of melt that down into more of like a cream traditional conditioner just to make it easy to apply. And I kind of leave that in, not to condition my hair, but it's the best way to get the granules out of your hair. So I leave that in and just kind of run it through, and then I rinse again. And that usually gets it all out. Do be prepared to have a mess in your shower. So wash your shower out. I've never had it permanently stain tile or grout. I have had it temporarily stain tile and grout. So be aware of that. But I think it's worth it. Yes, I love the color. Typically, I do like to do this in the summertime, at the beginning of summer, because it cools your body temperature down. You're walking around with this nice cool mud mask on your head. And then I think the color's so pretty when the sun hits it and everything after it's out. And to me, and I don't know if it's just psychological or not, but that cooling effect kind of lasts to me for like a week or so. Yeah, and my hair feels wonderful. The hair's stronger. Again, this is all like anecdotal. To me, it feels stronger. It feels more conditioned. It feels better. It behaves better. So I really like my hair after it's had a fresh henna treatment. So that is how I do henna. And then next time I see it online, you can see what it did to my hair too. So until next time, my dear friends, happy soaping.